I've wanted to design and build my own car for my whole life, and we thought building it out of a material like wood would present an interesting challenge. The world's only wooden supercar. Just a ton of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it. Obviously a lot of sandpaper as well. I'm Joe Harmon. I am the designer and builder of the world's only wooden supercar. I've wanted to design and build my own car for my whole life, and we thought building it out of a material like wood would present an interesting challenge. Wood is our only naturally renewable, totally biodegradable building material. It has a better strength to weight ratio than steel and aluminum. And it's just a beautiful material. It's a lot of fun to work with. I think there are roughly 20 different species of wood in the car. We try to stick to North American hardwoods. From an engineering standpoint, we all consider to be interchangeable based on their density and strength. Walnut, cherry, maple, birch, hickory, ash. Most of the chassis is birch and maple. Wheels are walnut, the rest is a mixed bag. So interior-wise, all wood steering wheel. There's no metal in that steering wheel anywhere whatsoever. It's nothing but wood and glue. A shaft that you see coming through the middle is the gear shift. The transmission's behind the engine in this car, and the shift linkage goes over the top of the engine. Wheels were a ton of work. They're the most complicated part. Wood's very strong, but it's also soft, so when you come to these hard points of metal, you need to be able to spread that load out over a larger area. The Splinter was built over a 9-year period of time. When I was in graduate school, I was lucky enough to where my dad would pay for me to eat and go to school and live, so I didn't have any other responsibilities other than to work on this car. It's a ton of work. Pain, suffering, and sanding. As far as I can remember, the tires are the only completely off-the-shelf piece of this car. I knew it would be a ton of work. I get asked the how many hours did this take question a lot. I tell people 20,000 hours. It was very slow, very time-intensive process. Thinking how to get myself into all this. It ends up pulling everybody that's close to you into a project like this.
I lived through the 10 years of building it. That was quite an experience. It's still completely relevant today and looks totally different from anything else I've ever seen. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, for sure. Mostly tears on my part.
It has a 7-liter small block V8. We think it makes about 650 horsepower. It has a 6-speed manual transmission, airbag suspension at all 4 corners so we can adjust the height. It's a very, very low vehicle and we have to get it on and off of trailers a lot, so being able to pick it up and down helps. It's hot, noisy, uncomfortable. You can't see out of the back of it. You can barely see out of the front of it. You're in a really, really low driving position. That's kind of part of what makes it raw and makes it exciting. It's not exactly the most practical vehicle in the world. It's not very good as a grocery getter. Fastest I've been in the vehicle is probably 30 miles an hour. I'm sure it has a top speed. I have no idea what it is. With the weight and the aerodynamics and the power that it makes, you know, maybe the engine could push this thing to 200 miles an hour. I don't know. I feel fairly certain that it will never happen, but it's probably theoretically possible. The car was really built as a building and engineering exercise to show people that you could do it. Heat is a concern. What will happen is if this car gets too hot, it'll start letting go and the panels will get droopy and they'll fall apart. Every vehicle can catch on fire fairly easily. Just so happens with this one, there will be less left over at the end if it does catch on fire. When I look back on it, I think about all the good times I had Coolest thing about the Splinter for me was getting to go through this process and realize that I've got the absolute best friends and family that anybody could ever ask for. How many Splinters did I actually get during the build? I lost track. I got my fair share for a lifetime's worth.